to my BookTube channel. So today I wanted to just quickly do a book catch up, just tell you how I'm getting on with my January TBR, what books I've read, what I thought of them, what I'm currently reading, what I'm thinking of that. But before I do so, I wanted to just quickly discuss something important that I wanted to share with you guys, because I'm on that platform that I can do so, and I feel like, yes, okay, it's in regards to what current circumstances are going on with the world, and I know we're getting fed up of hearing all about COVID and the pandemic and all of that. Like, I know I get a bit fed up of hearing it non-stop, but I wanted to share something that I just had done, because if anyone on here watches my channel and is a little bit worried about certain things, I hope I might be able to answer some of your worries. So Thursday late afternoon, I had a text message from my doctors to say that I am next to have my COVID vaccine. A quick background why I have had it. The reason why I've had it is I've got 2 autoimmune diseases. I have a very low immune system, and one of the diseases I have, I'm on medication, and that is a immune suppressant medication, so it lowers my immune system even more so than it already is. So for me, I have a lot of vaccinations anyway, because it takes me a lot longer to get over certain things, like a cold. It takes me a long time to get over a cold, so I have lots of vaccines just to help me with my immune system, to help me fight off lots of different things. So this is the reason why I've had my vaccine before a lot of other people, because I am classed as high risk, I'm classed as vulnerable, and since the pandemic has started, I've been shielding. I have been shielding on and off now for 7 or 8 months. So today I had my COVID vaccine. I had my text message, it sent me a link, went on a link, did all my details, and I was very surprised at how quickly the appointments were. So the earliest appointment was today, which is a Sunday the 17th of January. I decided, you know what, get it over and done with. I had it done this morning at 9:30. It wasn't at my local doctor's surgery, it was the same practice that my surgery's with, because the doctors I'm with is like a massive big medical practice, so there's lots of different surgeries with that medical practice. So I went to one that was 20 minutes away. I can see why the vaccine was being done there, because it's a massive big doctor's surgery. I looked at it and thought, oh my god, it's a hospital. It's pretty much half the size of a hospital. It's ground floor first, second floor. It's humongous, so I can see why they're doing the vaccines there, because there's more space. So I had it done this morning. I had it at 9:30. I went in. It's all, literally everything's closed apart from people there who are having their vaccine. I saw a nice reception lady. She told me to go to the end of the room where there was a lady waving at me, went to her, and then she sent me to a room. I went into the room and there was 3 other people there. They were a lot older than me, I must admit. I think I was the youngest from when I went there. I was definitely the youngest there. Obviously this might be different at other doctor surgeries, or whatever country you're in, it might all be different, so don't hold me on to how your surgery and how it's going to be done for you, but for me that's just how it was. So we all had literally had our arms out like that, so we had room, we weren't touching each other. We went through our name, our date of birth, our addresses. She obviously asked the important questions that involve the vaccine, as in, I think if you have certain allergies you might not be able to have it. I think certain medication you might have to be careful. So we went through that. Obviously it was a question of, are you pregnant or breastfeeding, which I'm not. But yeah, so we went through all that, and then the nurse came out and she then just went between us and did the vaccine. Once you have the vaccine done, you have to wait 15 minutes. You just have to make sure you're not having any allergic reaction. As long as you're okay, you can go after 15 minutes. So I'm not allergic to anything. Obviously, I'm not involving with that, and I'm used to having vaccines anyway. So like, I think my body's kind of used to that kind of thing. So the vaccine I had, I can't remember what it's called, it's got such a big name, but it was the first one that was put out to all of us. So I think it's the one that came out in December. So this one I have to have 2 jabs. So I've had my first one. I don't know when I'm having my second one, as the government's decided to change it. So everyone in the country will have their first vaccine by the end of this year, and then we all can slowly have the second vaccine, because he just wants everyone to have some sort of start of immunity. I've been told it might be between 3 to 12 weeks. You know, if they get the second vaccine batch, then they will start giving it out to the people who need the second vaccine. So I don't know when I'm having my second one done, but it's fine. I've already had my first one, so it means at least there was some like antibodies towards COVID. Obviously everyone reacts to things different. If you've never had like a vaccine before, you might react to it differently. For me, my reaction to the vaccine is a very sore arm. So I've had it done in my left arm. It hurts from my shoulder all the way down to here. I have flu jabs, so I tend to get an achy arm with them, but it's never been bad that I've needed to take pain relief or anything like I can manage. But this time round it aches so much that I've had to take some pain relief, but I've taken it and I'm fine. You know, I can move my arm. They said to, you know, don't go like that and never move your arm just because it's sore, because it's going to make it worse, and it, you know, you need to move about and make everything all spread around in your body and all that malarkey. So yeah, apart from a sore arm and it aches, I'm fine. I have like a little red mark where I've been injected, which I tend to not have, but I just got a little bit of redness on there, which is normal. So you get like a little letter booklet. It tells you what jab you've had, what is in it, how it's stored. It also gives you possible side effects. So you have the ones that are common, that are fine, and you have the ones that are 1 in 10, which is like nausea and like redness and swelling and stuff like that. And then you have the ones where it's like, it could happen, but if that happens, go and see a doctor, ring 111. So like, if you're having a reaction, they're saying that your tongue swells up, your glands swell up, you know, you have difficulty breathing and all that. So the normal ones that you get mainly are sore arms. They do say that you might get a headache, you might feel really tired, stuff like that. But me personally, I'm fine. You know, I had this done at 9:30. It's 10 to 2 and I'm fine. I've just had to take some pain relief just because my arm aches more than I would like. But other than that, I'm fine. So like I said, this is different to different places. Your surgeries might be different. If you're in a different country, it might be different. I just wanted to say, if you're a bit worried about the vaccine, please don't. At the end of the day, it's helping you have immunity to it, and hopefully should you get COVID, you have a fighting chance to fight it off and not get as poorly. For people like me who have to shield, who have immune problems and can't fight illnesses off as easy as healthy people, for me, this is a lifesaver. You know, I do not want to catch COVID and be hospitalised and be fighting for my life, because more than likely I am. I also have a young daughter who needs her mummy, so for me this is my lifesaver. If it means that I can start having a bit of a normal life again and I don't have to shield as much, you know, it's a no-brainer for me. I'm not saying, I'm not telling you to do this. You know, at the end of the day, it's your body, it's your choice. If you don't want the vaccination, that's absolutely perfectly fine. You do you. I'm not gonna push the vaccine onto you. I just want to just say my experience of it, how I feel, for any of you who are a little bit worried about the vaccine and just unsure about it. You know, I'm here, I'm fine, I've got a sore arm, but other than that, I am perfectly fine, I'm fine health and all that, okay? So yeah, if you've got any questions about it, then drop it in the comments. I'll reply back as soon as I can. But moving on from that, because I don't want to do a whole video talking about COVID and depressing stuff, because this is not what my channel's about. But I want to talk about how I'm getting on with my January TBR. So just to recap what was on my TBR, this is what I am reading. I have obviously got books on my Kindle, so everything that's on there is not all of it. So I have read, well, I can't remember how many I've read now, to be honest. I've read, hang on, how many read that paperbacks? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I've read 5 paperbacks and 3 Kindles, if I'm right. So I'm just going to breeze through them quickly. So the first book that I read, which I had read when I videotaped my January TBR video, I had already read it, is Priceless. This is a non-fiction parental self-help book, although it's not like your normal parental self-help books. So most normal ones that I have read, it sort of tells you, you know, all the birth parts, breastfeeding's best, although I'm not a preacher of that. You know, how to start introducing solid foods to babies, you know, it's all of those things. You know, what to do if your child's having a full-on tantrum in the middle of a supermarket. It's not that kind of book. So this book is a new way I could describe it is letters to my child or children. So she sort of gives her 2 children her advice on how to live and to have an enjoyment of your life. So it sort of discuss things like be your true self, you know, wear your heart on your sleeve, but, you know, don't trust someone the minute you meet them, you know, that kind of thing. Like, you know, be your true self, be confident, be a person that if you've done something wrong, admit you've done wrong, like those type of things. So it's not your typical parental help book that are out there, in my opinion. It also has lots of quotes. So there's like little, just like sections, like little short paragraphs, are not long. It was very easy to read. You can read it in one go or just do it in sections and all that. But it was also included like quotes, sort of along with what it was she was talking about. So there were quotes from Barack and Michelle Obama, Martin Luther King Jr., Janet Jackson. There was loads on there and I really liked them. They were good. It was a good book. Would I read it again? Probably not. Would I recommend it? Probably not either. But I would say it's a book that you don't have to read even if you're not a parent. You know, if you're not a parent, you can read it, because it's just, I think it's very like life affirmations. Probably said that wrong. But, you know, I some of it I thought, oh, that's actually benefit myself rather than my child. So I read that. The next one I read, so that was for LoveBooksTours. A couple of the ones that I'm talking about are from BookTours. The second one I read is A Twist of Karma. That is Blackthorn BookTours. Their tours are dark fiction. It's a very mature readers' books that they do. So it's not for the faint-hearted. They're quite triggering. So this book I was actually really excited for. It sounded really good. I thought, oh, this is going to be good. And knowing what the tour is like, I thought this was going to be quite, you know, dark and bring it on. It was not that at all. So here's the honest thing. When you do book tours, the lowest rating you can do is 3 stars. You can't go any lower. If you're going to do it any lower, they would rather take you off the tour or give you like blitzes or experts, stuff like that. They don't want it doing it, and I don't think that's good, because potentially they're asking you to read this book and review it honestly, and I'm a very honest person when it comes to my books. So a lot of books that I have reviewed that are 3 stars are not always 5 stars to me. Sometimes they are actually 2 stars, but because I can't rate it like that without annoying them potentially, I just put it as 3 stars. But this book I have reviewed for free. I actually really am rating it 2. It was on my Kindle. So 30% of the book was talking about this grieving mother going to Sri Lanka, following Buddhism and doing yoga and meditation. Now, I'm not against that, but it was literally 30% of the book talking about all of this. It was so boring. I thought, where is the plot that it's saying in the synopsis? Because literally the synopsis on there says her dead daughter's haunting her, and on top of there is a serial killer going on. So I was a little bit like, well, where is this going on? You know, I was getting quite into this book by now and nothing was happening. And then she finally went back to her hometown in San Francisco, and then it was coming to light, when she got there, it was coming to light that her daughter was haunting her, saying that this nasty shadow is trying to hurt her and blah blah blah. So she was trying to protect her daughter even though her daughter's dead. She's also trying to like get her life back on track and not be so depressed and grieving. There's a little bit of a love interest because she meets someone who falls in love with him, who happens to be the detective on the serial killer case. So the serial killer is targeting women who are mothers. And so it doesn't really go into depth about the killings, very much didn't go into depth about the haunting of her daughter. And spoiler alert, if you do want to read it, I'm giving you a spoiler, but in the end it was, she stole a Buddhist's, like a Buddhist ghost things coin. So they were out of revenge, so they were hurting her, they were sort of like using their daughter to get to her, and they were the ones that were actually killing the mothers because they had children, because this woman was once a mother. It was just naff, like it was average, there was nothing going on, and because I'm so used to the book tours being quite graphic, I didn't have any of that. I was like, oh, so I didn't like it. I have rated it 3 stars on my Instagram, but it's actually 2. And then next one I read, I'm doing it in order I read, was The Mirror Souls by Julia Scott. This was my first 5 stars for 2021, and I'm so glad. This is a very dystopian, futuristic sci-fi fantasy. It was a mixture of everything, but it was dystopian enough that it wasn't depressing and boring. It was futuristic sci-fi enough to the point that you're not baffled and don't understand what it says. It's got all your fantasy elements, and it's also got a lovely romance in it too, which I just loved. I was hooked from the start. I got a little bit confused just by all the different characters and the different races, and like some of the stuff at the start I was just a bit confused, but as I got into the book I was used to it. I understood who each characters were, which race was which. So I loved it. I've loved it that much that I've actually downloaded the second book on my Kindle because I want to know what happens. But this is a trilogy, so I've got the second book, but there's nothing on there to say a third book. So I don't want to read the second book yet because I don't want it to end and then me be desperate to read what happens and there's no book out, because I don't know whether it's just not on the websites I see it on, or whether the author has yet published it yet. But it was fantastic. It had everything I wanted in a book. The romance side was not, it was like a nice bubbling romance. It wasn't like losing focus of everything else in this book. I loved it. I can't wait to read book 2 and eventually book 3. I really recommend this, especially if you're just starting to get into sci-fi fantasy, because this is a very good first book to get used to the language and education side of the sci-fi thing, because I haven't read many sci-fi books. This is probably my second, maybe third. So I really enjoyed this and I understood it, and I hope that when I do read proper sci-fi fantasy that's really like focuses on that, I understand it a bit more. I then read Recon, which was another sci-fi futuristic fantasy. I hated it. I rated it 3 stars because I had to. I would do 2, maybe 1. It was a mixture of futuristic alien world and military. Now, my parents are from the army when I was younger. I do understand some army stuff, but this was going full on military things, ranks, guns, like, it was just, I didn't understand it. I was like, what? And then going into the alien side of things, all the spaceships and all of the technology used for these spaceships, didn't understand it. And for that, I then couldn't get on with the book because I didn't understand what was going on. And there was just too many characters, too many backwards and forwards. I felt a lot of it was repeated a lot, and I was just like, ugh. Like the beginning of the book, the prologue of it was exceptional. It was like a massive big terrorist attack. The like aliens, not aliens, but the people who are in like space and all that, who are trying to colonize people to save the world and all that, they won, but obviously there was lots of casualties and deaths. That I loved it. I thought, oh, this is going to be brilliant. But as I got into the first few chapters, I just couldn't, me personally, I couldn't get on with it. I didn't understand it. So because I didn't understand it, I couldn't really enjoy the book because I didn't have a clue what was going on. I then read this next book, and it wasn't on my TBR. So I took part in December, my first ever read-along with Tandem Collective. I will tag them all in the description bit below. And I did my first read-along to Duke and I by Julie Quinn, and I loved it. I loved it so much that it introduced me to a genre that I never read before. So I decided, no, I want to start participating. I can't speak today. Participating in more read-alongs of them. So I signed up for either 3 or 4, but I only got accepted for 1, which was Your Neighbour's Wife by Tony Parsons. So this is a crime thriller. I am a sucker for crime thriller. It is my most favourite genre. Like, it's my happy place. It sounds really wrong saying it's your happy place, but it's my happy place. I just enjoy these books and I've never really been disappointed by them. So we had, if you have never done a read along with Tandem Collective, you get like these sort of question cards. They either have questions, some have challenges to do, like reels or whatever. Duke and I, there was a couple of like challenges to do on your reel and stuff, and this one literally was just questions. So it's on pages, so this is page 34, so it'll be on that page, and I use that as sort of breaking the book up. Now I would usually have just picked this up and read it in one go, or at least 2 sittings, because it is quite a sort of big book just because it's hardback. Tony Parsons is pretty much up there with James Patterson. Like, James Patterson's my favourite crime thriller author. Tony Parsons is officially up there with him. This was amazing. Amazing. So I predicted who the murderer was. I sort of had that just from the beginning. However, that doesn't actually disappoint the book for me like some would do, because you're like, oh, you predicted it, it spoils it. This book didn't so much, because of the simple fact there were so many twists and turns, there were so many suspects. As much as I had an inkling who it might be, I could potentially have been wrong. There was secrets, there were family secrets came out to light, there was affairs, there was, there was so much, but not enough that you lose the plot. And it was one of those books where I was just on the edge of my seat, absolutely anticipating what happens next. I didn't see a lot of things coming. I was absolutely shook. I absolutely love this book, I had a massive like come down from it because it was just that epic. And if you haven't read it, I really recommend reading this book. It was absolutely fantastic. I don't want to talk too much into it because I will spoil it, and I don't want to spoil it, but I'm definitely going to look into more of Tony's work, because the way he writes, regardless if I predicted who it was, he has so many twists and turns that you're just left in your head. You're left mind blown. I loved it. I loved it. I loved it. I'm trying to think, what else have I read? Keep Walking Rona Beach. I read that. Sorry, I just recently read that and I completely went off my head. It was a like contemporary fiction, sort of self-help. I didn't like it either. I could not get on with the style of writing. I cannot tell you what style of writing it was because I don't particularly know. I don't know. It wasn't like in verse or anything. It wasn't in like the wrong person dialogue type thing. It was just a weird way this author wrote. And so basically this woman, her relationship with her partners, I don't know if it was her partner, husband, I can't really remember. That was how like stuck in my head it was or not. Basically, her partner leaves her after 10 years. I'm not 100% sure why, I didn't really go into it. And she's absolutely depressed because of that. On top of that, she has a health scare, and so she goes and gets tested, and it comes out that she's got this sort of problem. And so obviously it changes her life a little bit. It just annoyed me that she was more upset and worried about this relationship that ended rather than the health scare that she had, because it was like a cancer health scare, but she hasn't got cancer, but it's sort of, she's got cells that can be cancerous and all that, so you have to keep an eye on her, that sort of thing. It was just, she cared more about the relationship ending than this health thing, which for me, I would be like, if I had some nasty scare like that, I'd be focusing on that rather than this relationship that's ending because this bloke is a twat and has buggered off. I don't know whether it's just because of everything that's going on with the world at the moment that I just thought this book was just, you know, there are worse things in life than that. Now, don't get me wrong, I know how hard it is when a relationship ends, especially if you're the one who's been dumped. You know, the beginning of the pandemic last year, I was in a relationship, and the beginning of February, they dumped me. It was unexpected, and I'm not gonna lie, yes, I was upset. I didn't really want to go out and about. I didn't even read for the whole of February. I just, you know, I was sad. I just didn't really have any mojo to get myself out there and do things. And then the pandemic happened and I started shielding, so, you know, but, you know, I moved on from it. Like, at the end of the day, it's their loss, not mine. You know, I will. And that was what annoyed me with this book. It was just like her life ended because of this relationship. And I was just like, come on. Just do the things you want. Have fun. Live your life. You know, actually, you know, do the things you want. Not like what other people are doing, stuff like that. And there was like one quote that really hit home to me because for a while I was like that. One of her friends said to this woman to say, like, you know, do not go in a relationship just because you don't want to be alone, because that's the wrong time to be in a relationship. And that I felt was very true, because I have made that mistake a few times. I didn't want to be alone, so I went and found the next bloke to date, and then you know, they've either been really not nice people, or, you know, it's been just a pathetic relationship that, you know, I wouldn't usually have gone for. And it was basically because I didn't want to be on my own. So, you know, I liked that bit, but I just felt it was, the writing style, it was confusing. I didn't get it, and that made it hard. And it was just, I couldn't stand the character. I was just like, there are worse things in the world, especially what's going on now at this moment, than a relationship ending for me personally, I just didn't like it. The annoying thing is, because I haven't got my Kindle with me, I've forgotten what I've read on my Kindle, but I can't be bothered to try and find it and work it out. I've just finished this, The Lost Truth of April Dark. So it says here, mystery, magic, adventure. There was mystery, there was adventure. I didn't find there was a lot of magic. So the start of the book was quite interesting. So April has this disease that is really rare. No one knows what it is, how to treat it and all that. And basically, because of this disease, she will die. And so she does eventually die. But as she regains consciousness, she is then put into this really strange, like, different world, but she recognizes it. So it is basically a path to discovering the truth, and she starts like going into this adventure to try and find why she's here. There was a picture of her with this family, and people told her what this family was, so she's now going to try and see if she can find them to find out, you know, why she's there, what's going on, because she thinks she's dead, but she isn't. She's sort of gone a different world. So basically, there's this man called Makrav, who is like an evil occupier of many kingdoms, and he is, I think he's basically something to do with April that made her go into this world. So I think April's life was for her to die so she could go back to the thing. It was, I'm not gonna lie, I read it up to here. I skim read the rest because it got boring. So I know some of the key parts, but I don't know the full story because I wasn't enjoying it. I didn't want to DNF it because I'm not that kind of person unless the book is completely awful, and it just is a whole lot of palaver if you do that when you're on a book tour. So it was good, but it said magic and I didn't find there was a lot of magic in it. It was just a little bit of mystery with an adventure, but it was just it was a boring adventure in my opinion. I just didn't enjoy it. I am currently reading this book, but I will be finishing it today because it is a very easy read and it's also quite a short book. So I'm reading My Kind of Love by Nikki Ash. This is actually an advanced reader's copy. The author reached out to me because she saw I was reading the After series, and she said that I would probably really enjoy her book if I wanted to read it. So I signed up with the form, and she kindly gifted me this amazing book all the way from America. It came with a sticker, a bookmark, and then like another bookmark with the series, because this is a series. So it's book one's My Kind of Love, which I'm reading, and it's My Kind of Beautiful and My Kind of Perfect. There is like a code there where you click on and you can get other things on there. I'm on chapter 5. It's between two characters, a two characters point of view. So it's Michaela and Ryan. So Michaela basically found love of her life. He went to join up to do the Navy SEALs. He was on a practice mission because he was still going through the training to become a SEAL, so he wasn't even a SEAL yet. And an accident happened while he was skydiving and he died. So they just got married. They were like a year of their marriage and he's died. So Michaela's, it's been 15 months and she can't move forward. So she's decided to go to a family beach house to just try and get herself in the rut without, like, you know, her family and friends and any reminders, because her and her husband didn't go to this beach house. So she's just gone there to try and move on, and as she's gone into the family beach house, a family friend of hers, which is Ryan, is actually living in the beach house. So he's in the army. he's just come back from tour, so he's just having some R&R, and Michaela's dad's let him stay at the beach house while he's holidaying, but obviously Michaela didn't know this, so she's just literally got to this beach house, and basically they fall in love. But the pretext of what I'm getting, because it says in the blurb, is I think because Ryan is in the army serving, she doesn't want to be a military girlfriend, wife, whatever, because of what happened to her first husband, because she doesn't want to lose another person, which is understandable. So it's sort of, this is book romance, and then the end of their romance. I'm literally like just read 5 chapters, but I'm loving it. I will finish it today. And lastly, I have just finished Spirits of Vengeance, The Stone Spirits, an amazing historical fantasy book that has fairies, or tree elves. It has cyclopses, it has massive big giants, it has dragons, and there's a war with loads of magic. Epic book, my favourite book so far 2021 and this month. It's brilliant, and I've got book 2 to read, so I can't wait to read that. But yeah, that's the books that I've read. I am currently reading this still, The Thursday Murder Club, which I'm buddy reading with Hannah. Hannah's finished it, so I'm going to try and catch up. I've got the whole of this week coming, although I haven't got any tour books to read, so I'm going to concentrate on lists. But yeah, that's my reading update. Let me know if you have any questions, want to talk about the vaccine or anything like that. If you haven't done already, please subscribe, and I will see you again soon. Take care. Thank you for watching. Bye!